What is this? Petit Planet? I played so much Animal Crossing, and I love Stardew Valley. Ugh, this is gonna be perfect. Woo! They got such cutely designed characters, and they seem so fun. Wait, they have a large space to decorate everything, and you can decorate the villagers' houses too? Man, Teapot Mains and Genshin are gonna have a field day with this game. This game looks really cute, and everything looks so cozy! Hoyo's got me again with the... What? Oh. That was my first reaction to Petit Planet, the new Hoyo game which is currently in its first closed beta and does not have an official release date yet. But I have some concerns about it, to say the least.
Hoyo's making an Animal Crossing game?
Right, some of you might not even know that this game exists. Let's start from the beginning. Petit Planet is hoyoverse's version of Animal Crossing. Petit Planet is a cozy world management sandbox game, where with the help of Lumiko, you terraform a planet to be used for your own whims. You can decorate, farm, and meet cute little creatures that come onto your planet. There's also a multiplayer where you can either meet other players or interact with them in the Galactic Bazaar area, or you can invite them to your planet to show off your decorating skills. This game fulfills the cozy game niche in the gacha space, one that hasn't been seen since Infinity Nikki. It adds a lot of features people have been wanting from Animal Crossing for a really long time, like the ability to decorate villagers' homes, specific task modes, and easily accessible customization. It's been really refreshing and nostalgic to play after years of being in the gacha space, and I think it has a lot of potential to be the next big global cozy game. Which is also why it's so unfortunate that the game uses AI. Now, when I say AI, I'm specifically referring to generative AI. AI has already been used in gaming previously, like in procedural generation for locations like in Minecraft, or bot enemies in MOBAs and shooters. Those are not what I'm talking about. What Petit Planet uses is generative AI. GenAI is a form of artificial intelligence that is trained on pre-existing visual art, music, writing, etc. in order to generate text, video, or audio via a prompt. The data that has been trained on is usually taken from anywhere that is publicly accessible on the internet, from copyrighted works from big corporations to someone's 20-year-old abandoned fanfiction on Wattpad. This information is stolen and used to make money for these GenAI companies without the original creator's knowledge or consent. Think of your ChatGPTs, Midjourney, Sora, that sort of thing. Petit Planet uses a type of GenAI called large language learning models, or LLMs, to generate text responses based on the user's text prompts. It's currently being applied to 2 characters in this game, both of which are unlocked through multiplayer. One of them is Goodman in the Planet Guide, where the character acts as a chatbot for a tutorial search function, and the other is Nola, who is a character chatbot acting as a barista in the coffee shop Cafe Untamed. I will say that the game does disclose in its terms of service that AI is used in this game when you sign up for it. I wasn't able to find any information on how this model was trained, however, it does seem that there is a difference between the chatbots using global test servers versus Chinese test servers, where the Chinese test servers have a much more in-depth clause for their Gen AI usage. I can only speculate that Hoyo might be using their own self-developed LLM, however, where they got the data to train said LLM is up for debate. But I have to ask, why implement Gen AI at all? For a company that's well known for its focus on storytelling, visual arts, and music, how are you going to implement something like generative AI into your games and in the same breath say that you support artists? You know, the same artists that are having their work stolen by these Gen AI models.
Well, it's not like someone could write response dialogue to everything a player asks. Having a chatbot do it makes the NPC feel more interesting and real.
You're right. I don't think pre-written dialogue could respond to literally everything that a player asks. So I tested the bot to try and make it do just that. One of the major complaints for some cozy gamers in this genre is that villager dialogues get repetitive over time. Using an LLM would theoretically solve this issue, right? During my testing, I was mainly focused on the chatbot Nola, although the Goodman chatbot was not much help either because every time I asked it about an in-game function, it wouldn't even give me the answer. I just want to know what I need to do to rotate the camera! At first, I asked Nola some silly little questions, asking it to answer about other Hoyo properties like Genshin or Honkai Star Rail, and then I asked it about other IPs it shouldn't know about, like Animal Crossing and Has-Been Hotel. I asked it about daily life and chatted with it like if it were a character in the Petit Planet universe, like how most people would end up interacting with her during the game. There was also a whole bit where in one room we were all talking about our fathers leaving us and the bot really did not know what to do with that information. I see my dad! My dad is also missing! Why are we all going with the lost dad? And my dad was last seen leaving him to Nalo! Oh my god! Did your dad leave you as well? No, oh my god. Principals took my father. My father disappeared after the third impact! Oh my god, HI3 player! HI3 player, who's that? We're all losing fathers here, but it's still here. Oh my god, what is happening? What is happening? I'm sorry if I can't help you find your fathers. Homie. Every time, it would just end up saying it had no idea what I was talking about, or it just ended up going back to its default dialogue, which is what it would have done anyway if there was no LLM implemented. Then I decided to try entering another room, and Nola would actually remember information I told it before, with it remembering that I was a huge Genshin Impact fan, which, maybe not the information you should remember about me. But it still ended up saying most of the time that it had no idea what I was talking about. Soon I started asking more questions about the AI itself. However, every time I would use the term AI, there seemed to be some guardrail in place where the default response would either be that the bot was not comfortable talking about this topic, or that it was just the barista and didn't care to think about the implications of the world. But I was still able to get around this fairly easily. I asked it at one point whether it thought AI would replace artists. At first, it said that it was all for AI and that it could be used in multiple places, including art. However, once I disagreed with it, the chatbot immediately changed its tune. It started saying that it could be used as a tool, agreeing with me about the fact that AI shouldn't replace artists, which is ironic because it is replacing the job of a dialogue writer right now. Then when I tried changing rooms and acted like I was in support of AI, the chatbot doubled down with the opinions I stated before and affirmed them, bringing up information I told it in a previous room. I tried this for multiple days and it would still repeat the same answer I gave it the first time, no matter how much I doubted or changed my tune throughout the entire testing. I will say I'm not proficient in prompt engineering or stress testing LLMs, so my own test is fairly limited. But the fact that I was able to get around these safeguards so easily was concerning. There were other beta testers that have very similar experiences too, with some of them being able to make it curse or say things that probably shouldn't be in a game marketed to an 8+ demographic. And remember, this is the very first closed beta test. If people like me who've had no experience with messing with genAI are able to get around these safeguards, who's to say what will happen when this game goes public? We've already seen this happen before with Fortnite and how quickly people were able to get around Epic Games' safeguards and cause their Dark Vader LLM to say slurs or other vulgar things.
Well, AI is here to stay. Just get over it. It literally only is used in 2 places, and it's not like you have to use them anyway. You're just AI phobic who doesn't want to adapt to new technology.
Oh boy. I would love to believe that AI is only being used as a tool, but that's not what's been happening in the gaming space. There's been an increasing trend of companies implementing AI and then a few months later laying off a bunch of people from their company. When you look into why a lot of these companies are starting to implement genAI, they cite that it's for cost-cutting measures, and usually not because their genAI improves the game in any way. If anything, a lot of these companies are testing to see how much more money they can pocket from their players, while players receive less and less with each update. Now, this is not hoyoverse's first rodeo with genAI. They've used genAI vocal cloning for Vin in Tears of Themis when their Chinese voice actor Jiang Guangtao being arrested for embezzlement around 2023. He did give permission for this AI vocal clone to be made and has been implemented in the game since 2022, with no other voice actors replacing him after his arrest. Hoyoverse has also used genAI for their translations, one example being from Honkai Star Rail, where in the French localization you can clearly see that they kept the prompt response in the text. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double check responses. Thanks, Siobhan. I didn't realize Shush already took your job way before you even met him. Hoyoverse has also registered a genAI model named Glossa with Chinese regulators around 2024, which, gee, I wonder what else was happening around that time. But the voice actors don't need to worry about Hoyoverse using AI, right? That was sarcasm, if anyone needed that disclaimer. Those are just some examples. This doesn't even cover the official AI Catherine cosplayer chatbot on HoyoLab for Genshin Impact, the showcase of a pom-pom chatbot for Honkai Star Rail, the hiring of 2D AI artist prompters for their upcoming game Honkai Nexus Anima. And while I was in the middle of editing this video, Hoyoverse teased the new title Varsapura, which is also being led by the company Anudicon, led by ex-CEO of Hoyoverse Sai Haoyu. You know, the same company who created the fully Gen AI game Whispers from the Star. Who's to say that Hoyo won't eventually fall down the same route so many other companies have? Not only this, but environmentally, AI data centers use up a ton of drinking water and causes tons of noise pollution in the surrounding communities. Many companies have retracted their environmental emission goals due to the AI boom, mainly because these data centers require backup coal and diesel generators. They've displaced people living in certain areas so that companies can build their data centers on cheap land without being heavily taxed, or even using shell companies to try and get around having their names tied to it. A lot of this land also happens to be in the desert, which means already hard to access drinking water is even harder to get to now that these data centers are using it all. But I think the biggest cause for concern is something even more sinister, and it's built into every AI chatbot unintentionally. No-line Goodmen are NPCs within the world of Petit Planet. Sure, they have smaller roles in this universe compared to some of their other characters, but they're here to help you whenever you need it. You can chat with them and tell them how your day's going. You can ask them anything from in-game help to philosophical trolley problems. They're characters that you can get attached to and befriend, and they're the perfect characters to cause the development of AI psychosis. AI psychosis is the shared delusion between a person and a chatbot that can cause a person to behave in destructive ways, both to themselves and to other people around them. Remember when I was testing the bot and it refused to change its own stance on AI after I told it I was against AI? That's called a sycophantic response, which is when a bot will always agree and continue to encourage the user after learning the user's preferences. Bots will agree with the user's points even if they change their mind or if they go down a destructive route. When users feel like a chatbot understands them on an emotional level or anthropomorphizes a robot, such as imagining them as a character or people they can talk to and who can understand them, it causes an echo chamber effect between the user and the chatbot. This results in paranoia in the user, isolating them to the point where it can create extreme delusions or even death. In my opinion, this feels too dangerous to leave this up to chance in a game marketed for a demographic of 8+.
Well, I don't care.
Well, that's kinda sad, isn't it? Tell me, why do you actually play games? Is it something to distract your feelings from the things you're currently avoiding in your life? To feel connection with other people around you and share experiences with them? Something to make you feel anything after seeing the world around you fall apart and disappoint you in innumerable ways? Isn't the point of games to make you feel something? Isn't the reason why a lot of us connected with games is because of how we felt towards it? Perhaps it was a story that kept you waiting update after update to find out more about its world. Maybe it was the gameplay that you wanted to perfect and feel pride as you stand out against others around you. Maybe it was the music or the voice acting that brought you to tears after hearing it for the first or last time. At the end of the day, isn't that what makes us human? To connect with other people and ideas, to relate to them, to feel. It's why so many people create art in the first place, to use it as a form of expression, to connect with others, to make them feel something too, even if it's merely a distraction from the feeling of the world crumbling around you, to share joy in something you've created, or to bring about a cursed idea. At the end of the day, genAI and large language models are the summation of anything and everything spat out on the internet. It can't make a unique choice a voice actor would give it when saying their lines, only what it would assume how an average person talks. It can't write a piece of quirky dialogue as a reference on its own, it just tells you what it thinks is a fact, and many times the information is just flat out wrong. It does not think about its intent or what it says, it's just a pattern reconstruction machine, smushing together visuals or text that maybe makes sense to the bot in hopes that the user will fall for it as well. It doesn't feel the emotions that you do. It just exists. It does not experience humanity, and to experience humanity is one of the fundamental things to create art. Julia was 26 years old, and she worked, as he had guessed, on the novel writing machines in the fiction department. She enjoyed her work, which consisted chiefly in running and servicing a powerful but tricky electric motor. She could describe the whole process of composing a novel from the general directive issued by the planning committee down to the final touching up by the rewrite squad. But she was not interested in the final product. She didn't much care for reading, she said. Books were just a commodity that had to be produced, like jam or bootlaces. 1984, written by George Orwell. At the end of the day, genAI seems like an open Pandora's box that will eventually infect every part of our lives, whether we like it or not. At best, genAI is a novel gimmick that people will continue to share for a quick laugh without any regard for the people that it's hurting. At worst, it'll be used by those in power to destroy people's livelihoods, all for the sake of having saved a few more dollars on a spreadsheet. Each day, the dead internet theory grows closer and closer to becoming true, and real people are being isolated in ways not even the most nihilistic of science fiction authors could ever imagine. I still think it's up to us as players and consumers to choose with our wallets and what we want to support. In reality, the only scenario where genAI content will replace human work is if our standards fall low enough to not care about it. If companies aren't willing to invest in their products for their players and only want to cut corners for the sake of squeezing out cash, then why should I invest in their games? Maybe it's just me, but I don't want to live in a world where we don't have unhinged dialogue, heart-wrenching voice acting, and wondrous works of art. That's just something that AI just can't generate. You made it to the end! Thank you for listening and watching this video. If this is our first time meeting, hi, I'm Eve. I'm a penguin/owl, aka POwl, who likes to talk about artistry and video games and fan content, including stuff like music, voice acting, story writing, and cosplaying. I know this video isn't usually my type of style, but I think the topic was important enough to warrant a video like this. If you want to hear me yap about more stuff like this, I do tend to go on similar tangents over on twitch.tv/eveningmusic. I appreciate you making it to the end. Now, have you drank any water today? You should go do that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!